I want to show you something a little different today, a different way you can use your clear jelly stamper and layered plates. If you have a plate that has only 2 layers and you want to create a little bit more interest, a little bit more depth with that particular image, I'm going to show you an easy way you can go ahead and do that. First thing you're going to do is pick a base color, because we're going to pick up the base and we're going to put it down, and then we're going to decorate on top of the base. So you have to kind of decide what your main color is going to be. And for this particular look, I would like to do the Crimson Crush. So it's good. We're going to start with red, beautiful deep red color, and we're going to pick up kind of the top portion here of this image. So this guy and this guy go along with it before you put your outline down. So we're going to start with this image over here, but we're only going to do basically these 4. Now when you go to scrape, make sure you press down. So if there's any give, this plate doesn't have a lot of give, but if there's any give in your plate, you want to make sure it's nice and flat before you scrape it. And then I like to use my scraper the long way and use the belly of the scraper. So see how that flexes a little bit there? We're going to push down and slide over top. And then with just the weight of the stamper, you slide over and pick up your polish, your images. I'm going to focus kind of on these right here. Don't need to worry about these guys down here. We're just going to go onto the nail. I'm just going to turn this because I want to do this from the back portion, straight onto our nail, press and hold, just give it a couple of seconds. Totally opposite from the way we are used to using, say, a marshmallow stamper, for example, where you press off the plate and roll onto the nail. This is literally the opposite technique. Actually, I'm going to leave that turned, and I'm going to use my sticky pad. Still some images on there from the last manicure. Doesn't matter, don't waste that. Now we've got our base color down. Now we're going to take a couple of other colors and a brush. I'm going to use the detail end of our double-sided brush here. And I'm going to use my plate as my palette. We're going to use polish number 91, which is, what am I looking at here? This is Pickled Beet. What else do we want? How about some coppery kind of orange? We've got Copper Rose here, number 24. And then something lighter for a bit of contrast. Number 86, let's use 86. It's called Berry Slushy. Now, I'm giving this one a mix. It's a little bit separated. Make sure before you use your stamping polishes that you mix them really well. A stamping polish that isn't well mixed and is separated can very easily not lift, like at all. And it's very frustrating. So just get in the habit of doing that little tiny bit of mixing there before you use it, and you'll get into that habit and stay there, I'm sure. Now I'm going to take my brush, pop into my different colors here. Now keep in mind you're using nail polish, so those could dry. Create a little bit of different colors here. And I mean, however much you want to change that base color and add to it is completely in your control. I like to use just a cotton pad that's got polish remover on it, because again, we're using polish. Now let's add a little bit of this coppery here with the orangey shimmer. Now, I am not an artist by any stretch. That's going to become really obvious here, I think. Which is why we came up with the clear stamper, because I wanted to be able to give my customers amazing art, but I couldn't draw to save my life. So I want to be able to layer my stamping. So here we are. Berry Slushy here. I love this pink. It's just kind of a muted, soft pink, a little bit of a peachy tone to it. Other option too, if you don't want to mess around with a brush, you can always just create a marble too when you're scraping. I'll show you that next. And this, of course, is just sort of instead of using and doing decaling. I don't know, I always feel like I have time to kind of smoosh around a bunch of colors like this, but I don't have time to paint up a decal and wait for it to dry a bit and add an extra layer and all the rest of it. So I'm always looking for alternative ways. Now we've got a bunch of crazy different colors smooshed on there. Now we can come with our outline layer and outline that. However, I do want to throw in the green leaves that go along with these guys. I'm gonna rotate my plate because I picked this up and put it on completely the opposite way than my plate is laying. Just to make this easier to put in the second layer here where I need them, I'm just gonna orient my plate so that I can go straight from my plate straight onto my nail without having to turn my stamper at all, because you never know if you're gonna be able to turn that stamper enough or too little or just enough to match it up properly. So if you give yourself a couple of extra little fighting chances here, we're gonna go with olive number 89. And again, we've just got, hold on a second here. I turned this. So I'm gonna put the plate back. Yes. Right? So we've got the two little guys, the two little guys. So then these leaves are the ones that are gonna tuck in and amongst there. All right, we're back to being oriented again here. And we're gonna do exactly the same thing. Use this as your guide so that you know where to put these. 1, 2, 3, there's 2 down the center. So we know that these guys are all just gonna kinda pop in like that. Give it a little push, wait for that to transfer over. Clean this guy off, and now we are ready to do our outline. Just gonna give that a little clean off because I kind of overshot a bit. I am going to use number 60, which is Antique Lustre, for my outline. Just a nice kind of brown, shimmery gorgeousness. I mean, you can use anything you want. You could use a gold, you could use white to outline. It's just really gonna change your ultimate look depending on what you outline with. So in this case, I'm just gonna go with a contrast, something a little darker. If you hold your stamper, once you've lifted this, over top of that image and you kind of think, oh, well, that doesn't look like what I was picturing, then don't put it down. Go ahead and pick up a different color and hold it over top and see if you like it better. So there's all of our outlines there. And now just take your time and orient that. So I'm just looking at the leaves that are in between that are going to help me pop this down in relatively the correct position. Make sure that everything transfers. Pat those guys down. And there you go. So you've got that multicolored sort of dimensional flower with just 2 layers and a bit of painting in between. One more. And let's do our little butterfly. We'll do a little matchy butterfly over on the other nail. How about this guy? He's got lots of open space, so we'll be able to see lots through. This guy too, we can see a bit through, but I think this one's got more real estate to work with. Move things over just a little bit here. There we go. What do we want to use for a base color? Let's go a little lighter on this guy, and let's use our pink one, the Berry Slushy, number 86. And there's our base. So the same kind of rules apply here. Push down, doesn't bounce too much, but if you use the belly of that scraper, then you're going to get a nice even scrape on the base layer there. Now I'm just going to use the side of the scraper to take off the excess that we picked up that we don't want on this nail. And let's pop this guy right near the tip. And there's our base color. And let's grab a couple of colors to decorate him. What do we want? Let's pull in a little bit of this gorgeous vintage twist here, this yellow color. And then maybe, where's Pimento? There's Pimento. Number 60 is Pimento. Actually, it's not number 60, it's number 90. Number 60 is Antique Lustre, one of my faves. That's our outline color. Give this guy a little bit of details too. Just gonna decorate it more like you would the symmetrical butterfly type of changes, right? Butterflies are always symmetrical. And let's put a little bit more of that yellow, maybe right where the center's gonna come together there. Like I said, not an artist. I feel like I want a little bit more color. Let's pull in, how about something with a bit of shimmer? Let's go with Copper Rose here, which we also used over on the other, and the flowers. Okay, there's really no wrong way to do this. Now that guy's ready, let's grab our Antique Lustre here, number 60. And we're gonna pop this right over top. Now something you can do too is your base down and then pick up your outline and make a decal out of it. So decorate a little bit more on your, actually on the stamper itself. Like on here, you could go ahead, flip this over and start coloring that, and then lay it down over top of the base. So that you've got a bit more control over where your different colors are going and your customization. Okay, ready? So we're just gonna eyeball this. Take my time so I get the outline where I want it. give it a push, hold it for a couple of seconds, and roll off. And there's our cute little butterfly to match. So these are ready for a top coat now. I always use a gel top coat, give it a cure, and then those stay put until I remove them. If you go ahead and try this technique, please tag us. We'd love to see what you're creating, and we look very forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.